Now back to the John Clayton Show.
On 710 ESPN Seattle, the new sports leader. Now, here's John Clayton.
We have been anxiously awaiting Commando Dave, and now we have him. And Commando, there's life in Soto.
There is life in Soto, John Clayton, but I don't like.
So you don't like this? You don't like the deal with Soto?
The timing of the Seattle Times article, "City approached about basketball arena near Safeco Field," is somewhat curious to me, John Clayton, since I was on your show last week talking about the legislation coming up next month that Representative Mike Hope and his task force have been talking about for months. And when I say curious timing, John Clayton, I'm talking about the fact that the regular session of the Washington State Legislature is scheduled to begin 30 days from today, January 9th, 2012, the same year the Seattle Center turns 50. Now, Seattle's been down this road enough times to know that even when a billionaire is talking about building a facility, they're only talking about doing so under the old public-private partnership disguise, which starts with the $170 million that Representative Hope and the Task Force 5 are bringing to committee 30 days from today. And I'm with DeGrasse. If you're talking about public money for an arena for the Sonics, as a Sonics fan, an NHL enthusiast, and a poly sports biz activist, I don't like how the dominoes are lining up, especially when I read in the article, McGinn has expressed an interest in the city playing a role in the financing, because you hit it on the head, John Clayton, right on the head when you mentioned the visionaries of the past that gave us Seattle Center as they look into the future. And now that we're 50 years in the future, we must have the vision to take Seattle Center into the next 50.
I agree.
So go to the campaign page of Seattle Sonics, MIA.com, John Clayton, and you'll see that since July, when the KeyArena hosted the H2O game, the Sonics MIA campaign has been building the platform. KeyArena is the solution. Now, I'm not running for mayor, but if I were the mayor, I'd be expressing an interest in the city playing a role in financing a renovation of KeyArena for the next 50 years of Seattle Center to attract an investor, like the article mentioned, back to the original history of the Seattle Supersonics, thereby creating the conditions for that $170 million to benefit the entire city and all my constituents, from Sonics fans, NHL fans, Seattle Center proponents, and the taxpayers and voters of Seattle, especially the Lower Queen Anne businesses that were failed by the previous administration. Mm-hmm. Because lastly, John Clayton, I'll leave you with this. I know you got to run. For me as a Sonics fan, this is not about the NBA returning to Seattle. It's about restoring the Sonics to Seattle, in the words of Surf Pro, like it never happened, so that whenever it does happen, whenever Seattle's long sports national nightmare of going from a 3-sport town to a 2-sport town at the sake of its first team is over and the Supersonics triumphantly return to Seattle, I'm the type of Sonics fan that wants to kick it in the Sonics neighborhood of Lower Queen Anne and then head over to Seattle Center and go to a Sonics game as usual in the Seattle Coliseum / KeyArena and experience the new Sonic memories where the old Sonics memory live. And I know I can't be the only Sonic fan that feels that way. Now, it's one thing for Howard Schultz, Mayor Greg Nichols, Clayton Bennett, and NBA Commissioner David Stern to collude and upset the apple cart in Seattle, but it's another for them to forever change our Seattle Sonics way of life. Like I said, John Clayton, the KeyArena is the solution, and not just for the Sonics, but for the next 50. Safe travels, John Clayton.
Thanks, Commando Dave. Let's go to Andy in Shoreline. Andy, how are you?
Good morning, John. Wow. Commando Dave,
Hard to
very
follow,
inspirational.
It's passion, and let's put it this way. There's hope. Let's hope they can get something done.
Yes, indeed. And Commando, you've got my vote. I'll move back to Seattle so I can cast my vote for mayor.